What is going on? Gunners Live coming at you with another Clash Royale gameplay. In this video, I go up against a King Tower 8 and a King Tower 9, winning both matches by getting 3 crowns. Anyway, since my last video, I unlocked 2 amazing cards within the game. I unlocked the 3 Musketeers and I also unlocked the Golem. So I unlocked the 3 Musketeers first, and immediately after I unlocked them, I put them in my deck. They were level 1 and they were very weak. They cost 9 electricity down to the battlefield, so it's a heavy price to pay when they die so quickly from fireballs, Valkyries, and minions. So when I started using the 3 Musketeers, I was at around 1800 trophies. By the time I took them out of my deck, I was at around 1200 trophies. So until I get the card to be a higher level, I'm just going to keep the 3 Musketeers on the sideline. But anyways, after I put them on the sideline and started getting my trophies back up, I actually somehow unlocked the Golem. Now the Golem is an amazing card. I wasn't really that psyched about getting it because I see my opponents use it all the time and I'm able to counter it so easily. But I'm able to use the Golem against my opponents and just use it to tank, okay? I can follow it up with so many different troops in this deck and take out towers so easily. So I'm going to be using the Golem for a while, and you're going to see me use it to tank here in this gameplay and the next one in just a moment. Anyways, right here you see me pushing the right lane with a Valkyrie and goblins. For some reason my opponent shoots arrows at the goblins and then I immediately drop down the minions because I know that they're not going to be able to take it out by that spell he just used right there. They're just going to be weakened. But anyways, I'm going to get this tower down to almost 0 hit points, almost destroy it, but I'm not going to take it out just yet, because if I take it out right now, I will activate the King Tower, and I don't want to do that. Later on in the gameplay, I can always use the poison spell or push the right side with a hog if I need to take it out at any point. But right here, you see me go ahead and drop down the Golem, which I unlocked. And it cost 8 elixir to get down on the field, and that Golem is actually going to push the left lane. Right here, my opponent makes a mistake on the right. Their wizard actually crosses the bridge in front of the giant, so I'm able to drop down a musketeer. The musketeer takes out the wizard and then starts putting shots into the giant. Okay, there my not my baby dragon. My opponent dropped a baby dragon, which pushes that right lane as well, so I go ahead and drop a witch on the left lane behind the Golem. Like I said, the Golem is going to tank, the witch is going to follow it up, and then I also drop a poison spell to help take out this minion horde that my opponent dropped. Now I did lose a tower right there, but it's not that big of a deal. I just tried to defend it with a single musketeer, but I was basically able to trade my right tower with my opponent's left tower, and you see me now pushing on to the King Tower. My opponent's right tower is still very weak, so I can destroy it at any point in this game, like I said, with a hog or a poison spell if I need to. I go ahead and counter my opponent's wizard right here with a Valkyrie, and then counter the giant with the minion horde. My opponent drops a spell, but it's not going to take out my minions. I then drop a musketeer to take out the baby dragon. Now I have a solid push going towards my opponent's King Tower. So my opponent drops down the wizard. It's blasting my troops left and right. They also drop down the minion horde. It takes out my musketeer. I do use my poison spell to counter my opponent's wizard and minion horde. I felt like that was a fantastic trade, since the poison spell only does cost 4 elixir. At this point, my opponent's shooting arrows right there. They're just trying to make anything that can happen. They're trying to make anything happen that they can whatsoever, but it's all but over at this point. I'm going to go ahead and push right here with a Golem, some minions, and the Valkyrie. I do drop the hog, and at this point in the battle, my opponent knows the game is over. I know the game is over, and that 3-crown victory is mine. So we're about to hop into the second battle right here, right now. So right here, loading up into the second battle, the first thing I noticed is that my opponent is a King Tower 9 and I'm a King Tower 8, so they're probably going to have higher level troops than me. In order to win this match, I need to play very smart and very strategic. So I told my opponent good luck right there at the start of the game, and I go ahead and drop down my Golem here at the start of the match as well. Golem's going to move up the right side very slowly and allow me to tank units behind it. My opponent goes ahead and drops a balloon along with a rage spell right here, so I put down my witch in order to sort of counter that balloon. It does do quite a bit of damage to my tower, more than I would have liked here on the initial push that my opponent did here at the start of the match. But as my Golem moves up the right side, my opponent drops down the musketeer, and then my witch is actually able to do quite a bit of damage to the musketeer before my opponent drops down this mini P.E.K.K.A. Now remember this mini P.E.K.K.A. later on in the battle, because my opponent drops another one and I'm able to counter it with minions. So that mini P.E.K.K.A. didn't quite make it to my tower. It did take out my witch though, but at this point I drop down the hog rider. It's going to push towards that tower with the Golemites, and it's going to do quite a bit of damage. My opponent counters those units that I have whacking that tower with the minion horde. Luckily enough, that tower did not go down yet, okay? In just a second, I'm going to choke. But anyways, I did not activate the King Tower right there because my units died before they were able to take out the tower. Right here, my opponent pushes with Musketeers and drops the rage spell. Now, I dropped the Musketeer to counter those minions before that rage spell went down. Unfortunately, I still lost the tower. And also, unfortunately, right here, my Musketeer is going to push up the right lane of the map to take out that tower. on the right, which is going to end up activating the king tower, which is what I did not want to have happen at this point in the battle. So I go ahead and drop down my golem in the back of my base at this point. I'm building up elixir so I can drop him just behind the tank, and my opponent actually shoots a rocket right here, which is not a very smart move at all because that tower was still full health and they missed my golem. So it's pretty much a choke on my opponent's part. At this point, I know I sort of have an elixir advantage. So right here I dropped a witch, my opponent drops a musketeer and the mini P.E.K.K.A. Then I drop minions to counter the mini P.E.K.K.A. and then my opponent has to shoot the minions with arrows, which makes them use more elixir. So anyways, at this point I have a strong push going down the left lane with the golemites and the witch. I go ahead and drop my Hog Rider and my Musketeer on the right side to go ahead and start doing damage on my opponent's King Tower. I know that my left tower and my King Tower are going to be able to take out these minions pretty easily, so I don't need to drop any troops here in the back of my base. My opponent drops down the Skeletons, which I take out with the Poison Spell. Now my Goblins and Musketeer finish off this 3-crown victory against a Town Hall 9. So that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. New videos every single day here on my channel. I'm going to live. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.